Take your thumb and find that bony ridge on the inside of your ankle right now. Sink it into the flesh, press with intent, and hold that pressure for a slow count of 10. Now let go. If a ghostly, pale crater remains carved into your skin, you need to pause your day and listen closely. That lingering indent is a biological flare gun. But here's a twist. It's likely not your heart crying out for help. For most of you watching, your heart is performing its duties perfectly. The real culprit is your phantom network, a massive, intricate infrastructure within you that has no internal motor, no secondary backup, and zero capacity of function unless you manually prime the pump. Most medical professionals won't even whisper its name until the damage is irreversible. But over the next few minutes, I'm going to decode the specific daily biological triggers required to reboot the system and evacuate that metabolic sludge from your lower limbs for good. You've been lectured about salt intake. You've been prescribed chemical drainers. Some of you have even passed a cardiologist's gauntlet with flying colors, only to limp home with the same heavy, ballooning ankles and no path forward. Here's the unvarnished truth. That water pill is failing you because it is targeting the wrong fluid reservoir entirely. It's attempting to dehydrate your bloodstream when a real flood is trapped in your interstitial tissues. Inside that ankle, your stagnant fluid has transformed from a clear liquid into a thick, viscous jelly, a substance no pill can effectively reach. To flush it, you don't need a higher dosage. You need a biological override. I am going to walk you through a 5-minute structural habit. But be warned, if you perform these movements in the wrong sequence or at the wrong hour, the fluid stays padlocked in place. Here is a precise choreography to unlock your internal gates. I am Dr. Julian Thorne, and I'm asking for your full attention, because understanding the mechanics is the only way to make the relief permanent. I could simply list off exercises, but we both know how that story ends. You try them for 48 hours, see no immediate miracle, and abandon the mission. I'm not here to give you a workout. I'm here to return the keys to your own circulation. Once you grasp how your tissues are being literally suffocated from within, you won't just follow the protocol, you'll treat every second of it like a rescue operation for your legs. This is a mechanical breakdown that is keeping you anchored in swelling. Let's look at the system your GP likely ignored. Your body doesn't rely on a single plumbing network. It uses two. The first is your vascular highway, the arteries and veins you're familiar with. This system is biology on cruise control. Your heart is a relentless, automated engine that forces blood to your frame every beat of your life. Whether you're dreaming or sprinting, you don't have to assist it. But that very automation is why your second network is currently crashing, because unlike your heart, your secondary system has no engine. It is entirely manual, and if you don't know how to flip the switches, it simply stalls. This second network is your lymphatic system, and here is a chilling reality that changes the game. It has no pump, none. While your heart manages the blood, your lymphatics act as a silent, vast network of gutters running alongside every vessel in your body. Every single minute, fluid is perpetually seeping out of your blood and into your leg tissues, intended to nourish your cells and collect metabolic trash. But once that fluid crosses into your tissue, it is essentially stranded. It must be manually hauled back up to your heart through fragile, low-pressure pipes. We are talking about 2 liters of fluid every single day. If your manual labor stops, those 2 liters don't evaporate. They remain trapped in your ankles, becoming a heavy, acidic pool that slowly chokes off your local circulation. Remember, there is no heart driving this flow, no automatic pulse. Your lymph moves by one force alone, muscle-driven compression. Your calf muscle is quite literally your peripheral heart. Every time that muscle fires, it's supposed to wring those vessels like a wet towel, driving that waste upward against the crushing weight of gravity. But the moment you remain stationary for a few hours, that engine dies, The pump goes cold. Without that mechanical squeeze, those 2 liters have nowhere to go. They begin to stagnate around your ankle bones, building internal pressure until your skin feels like it's stretched to the breaking point. But that's only the prologue, because there is a specific way that the passage of time alters the mathematics of this process, a biological pivot that no one warns you about until the swelling becomes a permanent fixture. Recent peer-reviewed studies on lymphatic senescence have identified a devastating triple threat that gains momentum once you hit your 60s. First, the microscopic muscles that wrap around your lymph vessels, the ones responsible for that subtle, rhythmic pulsing, actually begin to atrophy. Researchers discovered that in older tissue, these lymphangens lose their density and contractile force. Essentially, the walls of your internal pump become too flaccid to push. But it gets worse. Second, the one-way check valves inside those vessels, the gates that stop fluid from crashing back down to your feet, begin to fail. In aging vessels, scientists have mapped a phenomenon known as retrograde reflux. Instead of draining toward the heart, the fluid is literally hemorrhaging backward through broken gates. Your pump isn't just weak, it's leaking. And when these 2 failures collide, your legs aren't just swollen, they are being flooded from the inside out. Third, the very architecture of your lower limbs begins to surrender. Think of your skin and fascia as a high-compression sleeve that keeps everything contained. As the years pass, that sleeve loses its elasticity. It becomes baggy and overstretched. This means that instead of being funneled back into vessels, the fluid has more dead space to settle and pool against your ankles. The reservoir isn't just filling up, the dam has collapsed. When you merge these 3, a failing pump, leaking valves, and a sagging structure, you get the exact crisis you see in the mirror at 8 p.m. every night, a system being overwhelmed faster than it can evacuate. But before I demonstrate how to manually bypass this failure, I must draw a line in the sand for your safety. There are 3 specific scenarios where you should not apply this protocol, and ignoring them could be catastrophic. There are 4 red flags that mean you must stop this video and seek medical intervention immediately. Do not gamble with these. First, examine your legs. Is one side significantly more bloated than the other? If that leg is warm to the touch, tender, or sporting a reddish hue, you aren't dealing with simple drainage. You could be hosting a deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot. That is a clinical emergency that needs a hospital, not a home remedy. Second, monitor your breathing. If you find yourself gasping for air while lying flat, or if a single flight of stairs leave you panting, your heart is likely failing to move the volume. This has moved beyond the realm of home maintenance. Third, check the scale. If you've gained 4 pounds in a single week and notice your urine looks foamy, your kidneys are likely losing vital proteins. You need a blood panel this week. And finally, if the swelling is strictly isolated to one leg, feels rock hard rather than doughy, and you have a history of oncological treatment in that region, stop, have that vetted by a specialist. If you have cleared all 4 of these safety checks, you are ready for the solution. If none of those red flags apply, if your swelling is a gradual creep that affects both legs, feels heavy by dinner but dissipates by morning, then you are exactly where you need to be. You belong to a massive demographic being failed by traditional medicine. Data suggests that 1 in 5 adults over 55 battles this daily, yet almost none get a straight answer. Why? Because the lymphatic system has no standard blood test and no routine imaging. It is invisible to the standard of care. But just because a scan can't see it doesn't mean the damage isn't visceral. To repair this, you first have to diagnose which failure mode your legs are currently stuck in. There are 3 distinct categories of swelling, and the protocol only works if you match the fix to the failure. Category 1 is what I call the high-pressure leak. In this scenario, your vein valves have lost their grip and blood is literally pooling in your lower legs before it can climb back to your chest. This creates a high-pressure environment that sweats water out of your vessels and into your skin. Look at your shins. Do you see twisted varicose veins? Or perhaps a rusty, brownish staining on the skin above the ankle? If your swelling peaks after a long day of standing, this is your primary glitch. But pay attention. Even without those stains, you could be suffering from Category 2, which is far more prevalent in modern, sedentary life. Category 2 is pure lymphatic stagnation. And if you're over 60 with no other symptoms, this is likely your blueprint. This swelling is soft. It pits like bread dough when you press it, and it often bloats the top of the foot. I want you to perform a clinical self-test right now. Try to pinch the skin on the very top of your foot, right behind your second toe. If the skin bunches easily into a fold, your lymph is likely moving. But that skin feels fused, leathery, or impossible to grip, you have just confirmed a positive stemmer sign. This isn't a guess. Research has proven the simple pinch is 92% accurate at identifying deep lymphatic congestion. If you can't lift that skin, your phantom system is officially stalled, and the fluid is beginning to bond to your internal tissues. Category 3 involves a heart or kidneys. Most people live in fear of this, but if your swelling has no traveling companions, no breathlessness, no sudden weight spikes, and no foamy urine, it is likely not the culprit. However, if you recognize those signs, pause here and get a professional workup. For the vast majority of you, the reality is Category 2. Your heart is fine, your kidneys are healthy, but your shadow system has hit a dead end. Your days have become more stationary. Your valves have aged, and your internal drainage hasn't just slowed down, it has frozen. The fluid is sitting there, becoming increasingly acidic and harder to mobilize with every passing hour. Now that we've isolated mechanical failure, it's time to perform the manual restart that clears the path. Let's look at the hidden clock running inside your body. You wake up and see a false normal. Because you've been horizontal for 8 hours, gravity stopped dragging fluid down, and your system had a temporary window to clear the backlog. Your ankles look lean. You think the problem is solved. But the moment your feet hit the rug, the countdown begins. You sit for coffee, you drive, you sit at a desk or in a recliner. By 2 p.m., you've been vertical but stagnant for 6 hours. While you've been living your life, your capillaries have been relentlessly leaking fluid into your tissues. Because your calf muscles are dormant, the pump is off. By mid-afternoon, your lower legs aren't just swelling, they are becoming a heavy, toxic reservoir. And every hour you sit, that fluid gets thicker, more stubborn, and more damaging to your skin's integrity. By evening, you feel the weight. You see that deep, angry trench your socks left behind, a physical map of the flood trapped beneath your surface. But the real betrayal occurs when you finally go to bed, without gravity holding it back. That reservoir of ankle fluid suddenly surges back toward your heart. Your system is hit with a volume load it wasn't braced for. Your kidneys go into a frantic overdrive to clear the surge, and suddenly you're awake at 2 a.m. for AM and 5:30 a.m. You wake up drained because you spent the night drowning internally, and this is precisely why your water pill has failed you. A diuretic is designed to strip water from your blood, but your crisis isn't your blood, it's locked in your tissue. Taking a pill to fix swollen ankles is like trying to dry a flooded basement by mopping the roof. You end up dehydrated and exhausted while the flood in the basement remains untouched. You've been treating the wrong room. Now, let's talk about the 3 accelerants making your swelling worse. And if you are over 60, you're likely doing all 3 right now. First is the hidden sodium anchor. Forget the salt shaker. I'm talking about the silent sodium in your sourdough, your salad dressings, and your healthy canned soups. Here is the math. For every extra gram of sodium your body holds, it tethers nearly 4 cups of water to your tissues. You aren't just eating salt. You are chemically anchoring fluid to your ankles. Second is the recliner trap. Those 3 hours in your favorite chair after dinner are the most dangerous hours of the day. You've just consumed your largest meal. Your body is at its peak fluid load, and by sitting still, you're effectively cutting the power to the pump exactly when it needs to be at full throttle. And third, the evening pour. Even one glass of wine dilates your capillaries, causing them to bleed fluid into your tissues faster than your system can ever evacuate it. You aren't just relaxing, you're opening the floodgates right before sleep. You are essentially prepping your body for a night of internal congestion and fragmented rest. Now, let's look at the 3 ways to fix the internal arithmetic of your legs. And the first one is completely counterintuitive. You must drink more water. Most people stop drinking because they think it will curb the swelling. But the reverse happens. Dehydration transforms your lymph fluid into a thick, stagnant sludge. You aren't just hydrating. You are thinning the lubricant your system needs to transport that waste. Second, you must plug the leak with protein. Your blood relies on a specialized protein called albumin, which acts like a biological magnet to keep water inside your veins. If you aren't consuming enough high-quality protein, like eggs, fish, or clean legumes, your blood loses its grip and water literally falls out of your vessels and into your ankles. And third, reinforce the pipes. Foods rich in flavonoid, like dark berries and citrus, act like a structural sealant for your capillaries. A cup of berries is a snack. It is a clinical intervention that toughens your vessel walls, so they stop weeping in the first place. Finally, you must address the spark plug. Magnesium is the fuel for the smooth muscles that line your lymphatic vessels. Without it, those internal pumps we discussed simply won't fire. By adding pumpkin seeds or dark leafy greens to your day, you are quite literally fueling the motor. But now we reach the climax, the 5-minute drainage protocol. This is why you've stayed with me, and every second of this sequence is non-negotiable. If you perform these steps out of order, you are essentially trying to push water against a locked door. We are about to manually open 3 specific biological gates to ensure the fluid in your ankles has a clear, high-speed exit back to your heart. Put your phone down, clear your space, and prepare to follow along. Here is your 24-hour lymphatic blueprint. First, prime the pump. Before your feet even touch the floor tomorrow morning, perform 30 slow ankle pumps. Flex your toes toward your face, then point them away. By doing this while lying flat, you are restarting your flow before gravity has a chance to sabotage your progress. Second, the hourglass reset. Every hour you sit, do 20 calf raises, seated or standing. I recommend setting a health alarm on your phone. Think of this as keeping conveyor belt moving, so the reservoir never has a chance to fill. Third, the pre-dinner flush. 5 minutes of walking, not as a workout, but as a mechanical clearing. This activates the deep muscle fibers that wring the waste out of your tissues before you settle in for the evening. And finally, the gravity assist. 90 minutes before bed, lie on your back with your legs straight up against the wall, heels above hips, hips above heart. This 15-minute position is the master key. It uses gravity to automatically drain every drop of fluid that your muscles missed during the day. During the first 5 minutes on the wall, perform slow ankle circles, 10 in each direction, followed by 20 slow flexes. But the next 5 minutes are the secret to the entire protocol. The deep vacuum breath. Place your hands flat on your belly and breathe through your nose so your abdomen rises, not your chest. This isn't a relaxation technique. It's a mechanical pump stroke. Clinical research has confirmed that deep diaphragmatic breathing creates a pressure vacuum in your chest that directly stimulates the thoracic duct, the master drain for your entire lower body. Every breath is literally sucking the fluid out of your legs. For the final 5 minutes, stay still and let gravity finish the job. But before you stand up, perform the final sweep. Starting at the ankle, use the flat of your fingers to gently stroke the skin upward toward the knee. always toward the heart. This manual sweep nudges the last of that stagnant fluid into your circulation on your schedule. Within minutes, you'll feel the urge to urinate clear, pale fluid that would have otherwise woken you at 3 a.m. You've just cleared the basement and protected your sleep. Commit to this for just 14 days. Then go back to the very first test we performed. Press your thumb above your ankle for 10 seconds. You will see the evidence for yourself. The indent will be shallower. The recovery will be instantaneous. And for the first time in years, you will wake up to find your ankles look exactly as they did when you went to bed. To begin this journey today, I have 5 small missions for you. First, capture your baseline. Do the ankle press and the foot pinch test right now, so you have proof of your starting point. Second, tonight, 90 minutes before bed, perform the wall sequence, the breathing, the gravity assist, and the final sweep. Third, observe your sleep. Pay attention to how many times you don't have to get up tonight. Fourth, do your ankle pumps before your feet hit the floor tomorrow morning. And fifth, eliminate just one hidden sodium source this week. 1 canned soup or 1 salty snack is enough to begin the shift. Your ankles haven't been betraying you. They've just been running on old equipment without an operator's manual. The system isn't broken. It's just understimulated. Give it 5 minutes in the right sequence, and you'll finally feel your shoes fit the same way at 8 p.m. as they did at 8 a.m. If this helped you understand your body in a way your doctor never explained, share this with one person who is tired of being handed a water pill without a real solution. And finally, leave your age in the comments below. I read every one of them to ensure the next video I make is exactly what you need to thrive.